This video will show you how to replace the water pump inlet tube on a Chrysler Town Country. This will be located under the passenger side of your engine compartment. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. Now the first thing I want to mention is we will have to make our way under the vehicle. Aside from that, we have to open up our cooling system and drain it. We're up along the top at the radiator cap. We need to make sure it's cool to the touch. Never open your cooling system if it's hot. We'll take hold of that cap, we're going to press down, turn it counterclockwise, lift up and away from our face. A quick inspection of the cap. We'll rest this right up along the top, leaving it loose, make our way safely under the front of the vehicle. Now as we make our way into the driver's side front corner of the vehicle, we're looking for the corner of the radiator. In this area is where we can see our drain plug. Once I start loosening this, coolant will make its way out, so of course I do have a collection receptacle and hand and eye protection at all times. Let's go ahead and start loosening this. We're going to drain the coolant into our receptacle and we'll recycle that properly. Now let's make our way towards the passenger side of the vehicle. This is where we can see our coolant inlet tube leading to our water pump. Now since this typically will have coolant in it, we want to make sure that this splash guard is pushed out of the way. You don't have to fully remove it, but we do want to dislodge it. Up along the front, there's one push pin. This should be as simple as pulling out the center to unlock it, and then remove the outer portion once that's loosened up. Just a quick inspection of that. Of course, replace it as necessary. Now at this point, you should be able to flex this out of the way towards the passenger side front tire. With that shield flexed out of position, let's start removing each one of our two coolant hoses. Now the forward hose leads to the radiator. Squeeze the clamp, we'll slide this out of position, move along to the next hose. Now at this point, you should be able to take hold of the hose, give it a wiggle and slide it out of position. If it does not move on the tube, carefully use a hose pick, break it free, and then slide it out. Once you have it disconnected, just a quick inspection of that lower radiator hose. If it looks like it's damaged in any way, you want to replace it. For now, I'm just going to tuck that up and out of the way. Let's move along to our next coolant hose. Quick inspection of that hose as well. That looks good. We'll set that aside. Now after removing those two hoses, there's going to be two 13mm mounting bolts. You're going to find one up along this bracket area, just behind the serpentine belt. But let's start making our way rearward to the mounting point over here. Now in this area, I have a 13mm mounting bolt going straight up and down. We'll remove that first. Let's make our way to the next mounting bolt just behind that serpentine belt. And there's that bolt. Now we can wiggle this tube. We're going to pull it down and away from this area. Keep in mind there could still be coolant in this tube. Let's just let that drain for a second. There we go. There it is, friend. Now, prior to installing any brand new part, let's make sure we clean and inspect the mounting area. We're starting up near where that water pump would be located, right up in this area here. For this, I'm just going to use a flat blade razor, a little bit of sandpaper as necessary. We'll make sure it's a clean mating surface. Some sandpaper. This is looking good. Come along the flat surface here as well. Just a light scuffing. We'll just make our way to the mounting point right over here behind the belt. That looks good. We finished our cleaning. Let's get ready to install our water pump inlet tube. The first thing you'll find is that I've added lubricant along my O-ring seal. That'll help this slide into place. Now we're just applying some upward pressure, gently twisting, bringing this up into position. We'll continue on with our 2 mounting bolts. Start in each prior to tightening either. Let's get that one in there. Okay. They're both started in. Let's snug them up, starting with the water pump side. Make sure that tube does not move around in any way. Now it's time for our hoses. Now I'm going to be replacing my small squeezable clamp because I felt as though it was weak. I have a brand new worm clamp. Slide that on there. Of course, we're going to make sure it's nice and tight. Now when we go to tighten this clamp, we want to try to make sure we have it in the same positioning as where we had removed the original, and double check to make sure that there's hose on each side of the clamp. Lastly, just make sure that it is secured. It should not slide out of place. Once you're sure that this is good, we'll continue on to the hose leading to our radiator. Make sure that hose does not slide out of place as well. Protect my belt. Clean down any mess in this area. Now we can get our shield in position here. We have our push clip in the unlocked position, driving in the outer portion, locking it in with the center. Just double check, make sure that's secured in place so it doesn't move around on you while you're driving down the road. Let's make our way over towards the driver's side of the vehicle. Now let's make our way underneath the driver's side front of the vehicle so we can tighten our drain plug on the radiator. Along the driver's side, onto the radiator here, this is where our drain plug is. Go ahead and turn that clockwise until it's fully tightened. Clean any mess in this area. Now it's time to fill the cooling system. Go ahead and remove that radiator cap again. Now at this point, there's different ways of filling the cooling system. One of the most basic ways would be using a small coolant funnel. If you have a specialty tool, you can use that as well. Since I will be using my coolant funnel, I'm going to use the specialty adapter that fits into this. Goes right up along the top there. That will hold the funnel for me. Remove the plunger. Now we're going to continue on with the manufacturer specified coolant. We're going to start filling our coolant funnel. As we fill the coolant, it's going to start making its way down and air will be making its way up. Once it stops bubbling, we're going to have to start the vehicle in a well-ventilated area. We're going to run the vehicle until it gets up to normal operating temperature. When that happens, the thermostat will open, coolant will flow throughout the entire cooling system, and that will finish removing any air from inside of this area. One thing I was mentioned is you have to continuously top off your coolant funnel. We don't want it running dry. Now that I finished the preliminary fill of my cooling system, it's time to start the engine. Once I do start it, I'm going to double check for leaks. Of course, when I'm running the vehicle, I need to make sure it gets up to normal operating temperature so the coolant will start flowing throughout the entire system. Once the cooling fans turn on, everything should be at normal operating temperature. At that point, we'll turn off the engine and double check our coolant level. Now I've run the vehicle, the cooling fans did turn on. I'm going to go ahead and put in my plunger. This will restrict the coolant from coming out of my funnel. At this point, I'm going to carefully remove this. Keep in mind, the coolant inside of it could be hot. Of course, we'll be recycling this coolant. I'll remove my adapter, that could be hot as well. We'll be aware of that. Now it's time for our radiator cap. Line it up, turn it clockwise until it's fully seated. Double check, make sure that's secured in place. Okay friend, we finished the installation of our water pump inlet tube. The next thing we want to do is just go ahead and clean any mess. We're going to double check for leaks. After that, go ahead and take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.